did. The Tempest and Winter's Tale are also interesting. Miranda goes back as the Queen of Milan, I think it is. And in Winter's Tale, Perdita becomes the queen, and her mother, Hermione, comes back as the Greek statue, sort of like Minerva, right? They come back as royals or goddesses. So Cordelia, of course, is the truth teller who comes back and is forgiven in the end. The final play, though, is not any of those. The very final play in the first folio is Cymbeline. And in that, Princess Imogen becomes the future of Britain. If you remember the final scene in the final act of Cymbeline, Princess Imogen is reunited with posthumous Leonatus, the handsome man who's gone to Italy, like Philip, right? She is called Fidele when she cross-dresses because she's faithful to her husband, Philip, the man of lower birth. They are united as lovers, by the way, not chaste lovers. And as these united lovers, Imogen becomes the eternal spirit of Britain. The soothsayer comes back and calls her the piece of tender air. Piece of tender air is A-I-R. It's her tender song that becomes immortal, not her tender air, H-E-I-R. So it's mimicking the sonnets. And now it's her beautiful song that's eternal rather than her progeny, her tender son, who is the progeny. And so in the final play, Imogen becomes the eternal spirit, uniting Rome with the future beauty of Britain. And so this final word is coming from the woman character. The woman character, her imagination, her Imogen, becomes the gentle voice that lives forever, like the phoenix voice. And so Shakespeare's true voice is heard again as the immortal voice of Imogen. That's the end of the first folio. It's never been understood until Bill explained it to me after he read Cymbeline. Isn't that amazing? She knew it all. She goes all the way from my first air to my tender air with an H to her final song, like the sonnets. It's a little song. And the tender air, the sonnet, becomes her immortal voice. This author is such a genius, and it's all about her woman's story and her final message as a woman that tells us that Shakespeare's poems are as important as the plays. That's how the whole life of Shakespeare, from first words to last words, tell how Mary saw it all as a whole. Immortality is the subject of the sonnets. She doesn't believe that there's personal immortality by time travel and by a life that never ends, right? Going to heaven and hell. She doesn't believe in that sort of immortality. She believes in immortality the way that Ovid believes it. Your immortality comes from your words, and if they're virtuous and beautiful, they live on. The art lives. Ars longa vita brevis is the conclusion of life, right? Art is what lives. Furthermore, she believes that you live through your son. Dedications to her son in her name and in her sonnets is her conclusion about immortality through progeny and through poetry. That's Mary Sidney's belief. It's a humanist view of immortality, not a magical view of immortality. My sister Anne is more interested in magic, and that type of immortality makes wonderful theater, doesn't it?